a month-long slide in Electronic Arts stock price, which mainstream financial press has attributed to the Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot box controversy, has caught the company's attention and is likely to spur changes to EA's microtransactions approach. But one prominent analyst says any changes won't come imminently. And, it must be said, EA's stock price today is still almost $25 above what it was a year ago. I'm quite confident that this debacle will influence EA's future behavior, said Michael Pachter, the well-known analyst for Wedbush Securities who focuses on the video games industry. Pachter noted that EA's stock price drop comes as major competitors' shares have gone up, and the overall market is up. Clearly, investors are voicing their discontent by selling the stock, Pachter said. But what comes next? Electronic Arts, after all, suspended the sale of microtransactions in Battlefront 2 a day before its formal launch, which included all of the PlayStation 4 player base. And the dip in its share prices began November 1, when the company revised its December quarter sales forecast downward, while a beta test of the multiplayer had exposed players to the loot boxes, and their reactions did result in some changes. The mainstream backlash to loot boxes and how they influence progression in Battlefront 2 really didn't begin until the game's preview launched to EA Access and Origin Access subscribers 9 days later. Still, it has been plenty enough to get investors interested in a gameplay feature. And while EA may not do anything soon, Pachter thinks it will ultimately change the company's behavior. I think EA got ahead of itself in presuming that MTX microtransactions would work equally well in all games, he said. Pachter was comparing the loot crate scene in Battlefront 2, and also Need for Speed Payback, to the longer-running Ultimate Team modes in EA sports titles. EA Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen said back in March that Ultimate Team now delivers $800 million in revenue annually. The difference, as Pachter notes, is that with Ultimate Team there are still several modes of play that the user gets that are entirely uninvolved with microtransactions. In FIFA, the single-player game allows access to all players, and only the Ultimate Team multiplayer mode requires card collection, Pachter said. The same is true of Grand Theft Auto 5 versus GTA Online, with the former having all content available and the latter, multiplayer, creating items for MTX purchases. Quote, but in Battlefront 2, player progression is substantially influenced by acquiring loot boxes, while nearly every advanced weapon is unlocked through in-game performance. A certain amount of kills, for example, the star cards that deliver perks, buffs and other performance bonuses come only from crates. Crates require a significant but not necessarily onerous amount of in-game currency that's awarded in all modes of play, until they were deactivated during the access trials. Crystals, which are only bought for real money, could bypass that entirely. But another irritant is the fact players have no idea what they're getting when they buy a loot crate, a practice some Hawaii state legislators liken to gambling.